Namaskar. Hello and welcome to P Guru's channel. I'm your host Sri Iyer. Today is Doctor Day. That is Dr.D.K.Hari and Dr.D.K.Hari, and they are going to tell us about the significance of the current month, that is the Margazhi in Tamil and Margashirsha and variations of that word in various languages across India. So let's welcome the guests, Dr. D.K.Hari and Dr.D.K.HemaHari. Namaskar and welcome to P Guru's channel.
Namaste.
Namaste to all the viewers, and wish you all a very happy Margashirsha Margazhi month, a beautiful month, which is called the best of the months.
And you've already started. You've given me a lead already. Why is it the best of the month, sir?
It is not Hari saying it, or it's not Sri Iyer saying it.
It is Sri Hari saying it.
It is Sri Hari saying it. That is very nice pun. It's not Hari saying it or Sri Iyer saying it, but Sri Hari himself saying it. That is Bhagavan Shri Krishna. In the Bhagavad Gita, Upadesa, he very clearly says, among the months, he is Margashirsha month.
So I'll just share that shloka with you.
It's beautiful. It's part of the Bhagavad Gita Upadesa itself. Hema sharing it with all of us to see that particular verse.
We have a lot of viewers joining in. Let's appreciate the beauty of the Kasamalai that Dr. HemaHari is wearing. It's a beautiful work of art.
You. Yes, it's my mother-in-law's.
Yes,
At least
valuable.
Yes, it is at least probably 50 to 70 years old from when it was made. It's like a heirloom antique piece.
Nice, nice.
So we'll just show you that particular shloka from Bhagavad Gita, which says about this aspect of Margashirsha, and where Krishna says he is Masanam Margashirsho. So Margashirsha, he says, I am this month itself. See, it's very interesting. He says, I am this month. So now, what is so special about this month?
That is what we need to see. Because which month is Krishna born in? Which month is he born in?
Who you asking me? I'm ignorant, sir.
So he is born in the he is born in the months of the monsoon rain.
Oh, that's why the river is in spate. And okay, got it.
Yes, obviously, all that. So that is in the Ashad month. Okay, but he doesn't identify himself with the birth of his month. That is what is need to be noted here. Instead, he identifies himself very clearly in this verse as being he himself is the month of Margashirsha. Beautifully. So there's a and everything he says in the Bhagavad Gita Upadesa is measured and has been validated through the 5 millennia that has elapsed since. Now, having said that, so that means this is known all over the land of Bharatavarsha, that among months, Margashirsha is the Uttishta month, is the best of the months. Why is that? Now let's come down, since you are Tamil, we are also Tamil, and a substantial part of the P Guru's viewership is also Tamil. We'll take up a particular verse. This is said by a disciple of Bhagavan Shri Krishna, Kannadasan, the great poet, the Tamil poet, who actually in a song uses the same vocabulary of Madangalil Margazhi.
Kalangalil aval vasandam, Kalaygalile aval oviyam, Madangalil aval Margazhi, Malargalile aval malligai. So he says, amongst months, she is Margazhi. So he is likening his lover here to the month of Margazhi, and also the season of spring, just like Sri Krishna in Gita says. So Kannadasan has been inspired by the Gita, and he takes that and he finds these two things about the season and the month, and he attributes that to this woman who is whom he likes so much, who is also his solace. So look at the idea that is coming in. Now, why would that be the case? Will be the question.
So,
you want me to put back the screen again? Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes, please. Yes, we will.
No, you took it off. You need to restart it. I just took the screen off from the panel. It was still there in the bottom, but now it is gone. You'll have to put it back.
No, we were fine. We've stopped the share.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
You stop the share? Okay, now. So the key point is across languages, as you correctly said at the beginning of the discussion, referring to this particular month of Margashirsha is used across the land, across millennia. But the key question is why? When we ask people, why, obviously what they say, because the season is more salubrious. So when you say, people say it's more salubrious, is that the reason, is the big question mark we're asking. Is it because of the salubrious of season? Yes, that's important, especially in a tropical country, a tropical place. That's important. Salubrious is important. But is that the sole reason? Have you ever thought of it?
Sir, I am ignoramus. I have no idea. Please go ahead.
See, Bhagavan Sri Krishna, in the Upadesa, he's talking about higher aspects, elevating the dialogue between himself and his disciple to the level of taking to the next level, because he is under immense stress, duress of having to fight his own brethren and his own family people. So obviously he's taking the dialogue next level. So in that context, what is the dialogue that is being brought in with regard to this specific mention of this month, Margashirsha, Margazhi, as to what is higher level of dialogue? And what is it that happens when all these months go around, be it in the North Indian calendar, or be it in the South Indian calendar, be it the East Indian calendar, West Indian calendar, Central Indian calendar, Bharat, all the calendars of Bharatavarsha, which number over 1,200 calendars. What is it we have? We have 12 months. Of course, that came in much later in the West, but we have been having this for probably 5, 7, 8, 9 millennia. But and we have names for specifically each of the calendars. What do they mean? What do they signify?
So I would just like to present my screen a little bit here and then walk you through how we have named our months themselves.
Yeah.
And so are you able to see?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's just start from the basics. Okay. So we have the earth and the moon going around the sun, right? So as the earth goes around the sun, the moon is also going around the earth. And mind you, this exact motion has been described very beautifully in the Veda itself. We talk about heliocentricity from the West, having got this knowledge from the West very recently. But the Veda talks about the earth and its moon going around their father, the sun. Parent body, sun. But what happens is, the beauty is, every time this movement is happening, on certain days, the moon is aligned. So when the moon is exactly opposite the sun is when you have a full moon. Yeah. And when the moon, on the full moon, so there is this plane of the solar system. Actually, all the planets go in a plane. It's like a plate. It's a beautiful disk. And you have a rim. On the rim, you have some stars. Overall, you have stars in the sky. But along the rim of that disk also, you have some stars. And these stars, so as the Earth and other planets move, they all come to align with these stars. Which is why when we see from Earth, we see the sun, we see the moon, we see all the other planets which are in between, traveling along a path of these stars itself, which is what we call as the zodiac belt or the Rashi Chakra.
The word Rashi itself means cluster, group.
So when you have groups of stars, so that's each one becomes a Rashi. So on every full moon, they identified about 27 stars. And so that on every full moon, when the moon is aligned against a star, you have a name of the month. The name of that star becomes the name of the month. And likewise, on Amavasya,
could you click the hide, please, so that the
sure. Yeah,
thank you.
So on the
was this? Hold on. Was this animating, because I would like you to park
Yes.
it place where it is farthest from.
Yes, now it,
Now it
No, no,
is
farthest from,
the sun.
no, she'll
Because
animate
before
it. She'll animate as she goes along.
yeah, we will we'll go through it every month. I've
Okay.
just parked it here to show the full moon configuration. So you
Okay.
have the full moon here against a star, and the name of this star is given to that month. So while you have 27 stars in this path, the full moon happens against 12 stars. So these 12 stars give their name to the month. And on Amavasya, the moon will be on the other side of the earth. So if you look at it, in the middle of this motion, one particular day, the moon will be here on the same side as the sun. Actually, that's why you have the name Amavasya. They are together. Sun and moon are Vas. They are in Vas together.
Vasan, Vasikiradu, reside, Srinivas. So they reside together. So Amma, because Amma is where the child resides in. So Amavasya, when residing in with its parent body.
And with Amavasya. So now look at this. Now next star. So this is actually Amavasya, and now the moon has come to the star too. So this is the second month. In between was Amavasya here. So like that, 12 months are there, and each star gives its name to the month.
So like this, we have this for the 12 months. Now, what is so special? So this is the zodiac belt Hemas drawn.
So the Rashi Chakra, the 12 of them, they are clustered. So they are grouped together to form a Rashi. So you have the Aries, the Taurus, the Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, like that. You have the 12 of them, these 27 grouped into these 12.
See, this perspective, what we have drawn and shown you, is not from the earth. This perspective is from beyond the solar system, beyond where Voyager has now traveled up to. So from that perspective, taking and showing you as to how our ancient Rishi Munis had viewed it from that angle and prepared this sky chart for us then. So we are only showing you in simple modern day animation what they had visualized millennia ago.
With their minds.
Actually, the minds have visualized it.
That's why you call them Drishta, Rishi, seer, who have seen it with their mind. Now let's look at the aspect of a day, which we call a Tithi. So every day we say there is a nakshatra, right, for the day. So that comes because the moon is going around the earth. So even as it goes around the earth, every day it's aligning against these 27 stars. So that's how each day gets that day's nakshatra. Fine. So this happens, and the month, therefore, now look at it. So when it is aligned here against Aries, where you have Ashwini, so that becomes Ashwini. And Ashwini is here, but you have Chitra star here. So in Aries, so this becomes the month Chaitra, because the full moon happens on this side. So when you are
so Margashirsha comes as see. So Kartika, Margashirsha. So every month, as the earth and moon move around the sun, on the background of the sky, you form the name of the month. So Margashirsha, Pushya. So Pushya Nakshatra.
So in December, which is the current month, the earth, when you look at the sun from the earth, so earth is here, and when you look at the sun, it's aligned against Sagittarius. So this is the alignment. But when the earth is here, for the full moon to happen, the moon has to come here.
Right.
So that is when, and when the moon is on this side, it is aligned against Margashirisham. Margashirish is a star, and this is part of the Orion constellation. So the Orion constellation is here, and therefore this alignment itself gets the name, the star gets the name Margashirish, and the month gets the name Margashirsha. So this is how this particular month in December, this is the alignment. Earth is here. From here, the sun is in Sagittarius, as you can see, and the full moon will happen when the star is aligned with Margashirsha. Now comes the beauty. What is so special about this particular alignment is Margashirsha. So what? Every month has got some alignment. So
why is this
so
special? Now, where does we come from? Our sun. Our moon comes from our sun. Our Jupiter comes from our sun. Our Venus comes from our sun. All our planets come from our sun. All our planets come from our sun. Where does our sun come from? Where is our sun actually? If you see our sun, in this particular galaxy, what we call Milky Way galaxy, which in the Indian languages is called Akash Ganga. It's a perennial, that's Ganga. It's in the Akasha, so Akash Ganga. In this galaxy, if you see our sun, you see our sun is shown there as a small dot.
See, this Milky Way galaxy itself, there are many spiral arms. See, look, so many spiral arms coming. This is the hub. This is the center. This is the womb of the galaxy.
Garbha.
This is Garbha, or like the mother. And this is from where all the stars keep getting produced. And this is the spot from where the galaxy has grown.
That's a star factory, actually.
And each of these arms have been given names. Now, in Western astronomy, we call this the Sagittarius arm, because the Sagittarius set of stars, the cluster that we see, you find them in this arm. Likewise, this is the arm in which our sun is there. And this arm is called the Orion arm, because the Orion constellation, the stars that form this, they are in this particular, they're located in this arm. So this arm is called the Orion arm, and our sun is in that particular arm. And then you have a Perseus arm, and so on. So each arm has got certain names. But here, look at this. This Sagittarius arm is between us. So when we say our sun, we are there along with our sun. So this is between us and the center of the Milky Way galaxy. So when the Earth is on this side of the sun, and when you look at from the Earth, you look at the sun, you will naturally, in December, you will be seeing the Earth and the sun in alignment with Sagittarius, and it will be in alignment with the center of the galaxy.
For the womb, the place from where our sun came forth. So it is looking at its thigh veed. It is mother's womb. It's looking at that.
So when we look from the Earth and see the sun will be aligned against Sagittarius, which is aligned with the center, the hub of the Milky Way galaxy.
And what do we call the hub of the galaxy in the Bharata Jyotisha astronomical firm? We call it as Moola. Moola Nakshatra, Moola Bari, the fanning out, the Moola Bari, the fanning out of it. So when you say Moola Nakshatra, that's what you mean. So that is
so Moola Nakshatra is in this region, as you can see in this Lambda Scorpio. This is called that because it is this region that this is the closest, brightest star in the zodiac belt that comes close to this hub. So that is why this star has been given the name Moola, because at the time of Moola, when the moon is coming with Moola Nakshatram, also then you're looking at the center of the galaxy. Such a beautiful visualization our ancestors have had, and what thought and what amount of science they knew to call this the Moola Nakshatra. So
that's the star factory.
So coming back to that visualization. So when the Earth is here in December, you're looking at the sun. The sun is aligned with Sagittarius, and this Sagittarius is aligned with the center of the galaxy.
From where Sagittarius came, from where Orion came, from the Orion arm, the sun came, from the sun, the earth came, from there the moon came, and everything came. So we are in alignment with our great grandmother's womb. That is the womb of Parashakti of our galaxy.
And this is nothing but it's also on the other side aligned with Orion, which is here. It comes between here and very close to the Taurus, in the Taurus region. You have the Orion, which is Margashirsha, as we have called it, the head of the Mriga. And in the Western astronomy, it's called the hunter who is chasing. So the animal. So here you have Margashirsha.
Mriga is deer, right? Mriga is deer.
Yes.
We have made a short film on Margashirsha, 3-minute film. You can share it with you if you want here.
Sure.
So the stars in this region in Western astronomy have been conceptualized as a hunter. We have conceptualized it as a Mriga. So, I mean, but that's the point is here. We call it the Margashira because it is aligned with this particular Orion constellation on this side on the full moon. But at the same time, the sun as we see it during the day is being aligned with the center of this galaxy.
Now, see, now I'm just going to come out, we're going to show you the film on Margashirsha in a few minutes, but that's okay. Before, I'm going to ask you one question. I'm going to ask you one question. Now you've seen all the alignments of the movements of the zodiac, and you have seen how everything moves. Now, if somebody tells you that we were taught that the earth is not geocentric only some 300, 400 years ago, otherwise we thought it to be very, what you call, flat plate earth and all that, will this whole idea even fit in then the one phrase, Madangalil Margazhi, among the months I am Margashirsha. I'm Margashirsha, as said by Bhagavan Shri Krishna in this thing. That means he knew the earth is to be round. He knew that the moon goes around the earth goes around the sun goes around its parent galaxy, and there got alignments. So
and there is something called the Orionum, the Sagittarianum.
All this, and that means what? So we are not only talking about heliocentricity, we are talking beyond heliocentricity.
Galactic center as well.
Akash Ganga centricity we're talking about. So this one phrase, Madangalil Margazhi, among months I am Margashirsha, 5,100 years ago, throws out of the window any thought that we thought the earth to be flat and all that. Your flat earth theory that supposedly we had, and it was only some colonial astronomers, historians came and gave it to us from Europe some 400, 500 years ago.
That the earth is round, that it is going around the sun is not going around the earth.
So this, look at the depth of astronomy that we have had, we would have, obviously not would have had, we have had obviously to come up with this. And that is the beauty, the depth, to know that there is a parent to this, but there's a womb to this particular galaxy. And we are looking up to that galaxy and venerating that galaxy. So that is the mark.
Now comes the other aspect that Hari actually brought forth. When does Krishna tell this to Arjuna? This he tells him at the battlefield when he is so stressed and he's so confused. So that is when Krishna is giving this message that I am the month of Margashirsh. So please look at me as Margashirsh month. Meaning what? Because in this whole thing, what he's trying to tell Arjuna is that I am the parent cause of everything. You don't blame yourself. Don't take the blame. Leave it to me. You just go do your duty. You surrender yourself to the cause, which is me.
Sharanagati concept, the tattva.
So surrender means what? Align. Just come and be in line with me. Surrender yourself to me. Come in alignment with me. I am the cause. So here, in the month of December, we are all aligned with the cause, our parent cause of our material being, our material that we are made of has come from that stardust, from that galaxy, the womb of that Milky Way. And we are all aligned with it. So imagine, and why does that kind of an alignment augur well? Why is it so auspicious? Because it puts you in a state of calm. When you're aligned, you're not resisting. You're not fighting anything.
You're not resisting.
So you are just, in fact, in Mahabharata itself, out of so many astras, one of the astra, which the only way you can protect yourself, he says, is this Narayana astra. When it is flung, they say that the only way you can rescue yourself or protect yourself is to bow down to that astra, is to align, is to surrender to that astra, because it is all about resistance. Resistance is when you have maximum stress. So this month, when you're aligned, and if you allow yourself to be aligned with that beautiful thought that you are looking at your cause at the center of your galaxy from where you have come as well, then what more calm can you get? So how much of calm? And when the mind is calm, that is when you will produce so much more. There will be so much more intuition. There will be so much more creativity, so many more nice thoughts. And that is why you look at it. You have Vaikuntha Ekadashi also coming around this month. You have in North, they call it Mokshada Ekadashi. In South, we celebrate it as Vaikuntha Ekadashi. So all these come around the same time.
Look at this, you are aligning so that your soul has to go beyond the solar system, has to go beyond your Orion arm, has to go all the way up to your mother womb, the parent mother womb.
And this parent womb is in turn aligned with the center of the entire cosmos. We have in Indian thought, we have a center for this cosmos, the Nabi from which this entire universe has sprung forth. And that Nabi is with which this particular center of the galaxy is also aligned.
Our Moola Nakshatra, our local Moola Nakshatra is aligned in turn with that. Look at the level of alignment that we're looking at superbly at a humongous level, so that we knew not only about galaxies, we knew about cluster galaxies and how those cluster galaxies formed all this. And what do we simply show it as? Sudarshan, the chakra that Vishnu has in his hand, Bhagavan Shri Krishna also has, is what the Sudarshana chakra.
And Sudarshana, it's a beautiful darshana. And when you get that beautiful darshana, then your life is beautiful.
You are aligned with it. That is the larger message we should have for this Margashirsha month. Beautifully, isn't it?
Yes, indeed.
From one
Very
word.
True.
So this is how we understand it, one word, and the layers of meaning to it, which is implicit in it once we start looking at it from the larger perspective.
And look at it, Andal also. She goes through this entire month of Tirupavai and she merges. She merges with Ranganatha during this month.
Yes, sir.
Wonderful.
So this is what we got. Is a perfect timing to bring out this particular message to all our
absolutely
to share with everybody.
Let me just have there's one question I have. Just give me 1 second. Let me just make a couple of acknowledgements. Thank you, Jaya Gummadi, for becoming a YouTube member. See, one challenge that Western astronomy has, I mean, first of all, their history itself stops around 4000 BCE or 4400. Some Irish pastor said that is when Noah's Ark occurred. So, for them to comprehend all these things, I'm just curious, because the Britishers knew about Sanskrit, Vedas and everything by early 19th century, like 1805, they had sort of settled down more or less across India. And then they kept coming across what is called as Kali Panchang. And it used to drive them crazy, because people would talk to them about, so many years behind, and they were very precise. You would talk to a Pandit in Banaras, you will get the answer. You go to Lahore, same answer. You go to Kanyakumari, same answer. I mean, they used to go to, what the heck is this? How, what are these guys talking about? For them to break through all that stuff, I'm coming to the question, is why didn't the British take a step back to understand, perhaps we don't completely understand the Sanatana Dharma or the Vedic philosophy that is on this land? Why did, I don't see any intellectual talk about this part.
John Playfair, a Scottish astronomer in 1800s, he has written about Kali Yugam, Calyougam. So he's written extensively of Kali Yugam, and he says the 9 parameters that make it, it cannot backdate it without having physically observed it. He gives it. We give it in our book Historical Krishna. The whole chapter there on it. And like that, many people have gone through this, and he specifically calls it the Tivolo tables. TIVLO Tivolo tables. Nothing but it is Tiruvallur Panchangam, Tiruvallur tables. Tiruvallur is halfway between Chennai and Tirupati.
Right.
So they were very well aware of it. It's just that, see, they also had, as you correctly said 5 minutes back, they had a glass ceiling they had to contend with. That is, Reverend James Ussher in 1664 had written very clearly and categorically that God created creation. It's not just earth. He created creation itself at 9 a.m. on 23rd October 4004 BC. And anybody who says anything counter to that is a heretic. And the word heretic means you can be burnt on the stake. So they had a very clear glass ceiling beyond which they could not go. And you couldn't balance these two, obviously. That's a different matter, that around the same period, you had in Netherlands Christian hygiens, a priest, a Catholic priest, who had given the how there were many
sons and all that. So he was at the same time talking that this universe, there are many suns and many earths and so on.
They made a film on this, on expressing what Reverend James Ussher had said in Ireland, as well as what Christian Huygens had said in Netherlands. Both it's there in
around the same time, at the same parallel. But the other question is also, so okay, this was around 1600s, and then over the years they have gone through Indian texts. They've had more exposure directly with Indian astronomers and panchang makers, and they have got to know about the Indian scales of time. But again, so why didn't they accept it? So then you go back, see, this whole thing is not so black and white. I mean, it's a big circle. So you go back to the aspect that on the other side, you have people in the Helibri College who are trying to train people that everything in India is supposed to be trash, because otherwise you will get influenced and you will not be able to administer India. Rule them. So irrespective of what information you find in India, and so even before you can find it, I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to tell you it is not worth it, it's trash.
We did this about 4 sessions back for P Gurus itself as interview. We did that, so those who want can always go back and revisit that interview where we're given again all the data for why did Helibri College choose to do it so. And there's a sequence to it, there's a lineage to it. That also we already given.
And that mindset unfortunately continues, so that
it permeates to this date.
So that despite all this information which is there inherent, see, this is not explicitly available as a scientific postulate or a theorem. They are, however, you have to understand the layers of meaning in it to be able to get this out. So the importance of the Indian traditional way and traditions, because half this knowledge is maintained through tradition. It is the tradition of celebrating Margazhi, getting up early, doing all the Tirupavai, or regarding the Dhanurmas, doing this Vaikuntha Ekadashi. All this knowledge is coming through tradition, and calling the day, the month as Margashirsha, holding this Mula Nakshatra, calling the nakshatra as Mula, and therefore knowing what it means. These are all part of tradition. You will not find it explained in one Resnick and Halliday textbook somewhere.
Now the point is, see, when Bhagavan Shri Krishna says among the months he is Margashirsha, you will have to obviously know about the non-geocentric, heliocentric, beyond heliocentric view. Then you must also know about the Agrahayana, Sagittarius arm. You must also know that there is a Mula Nakshatra, Mula Bari, that's a veritable star factory from which we, the earth, is nothing but as she said, a astral dust. This earth is nothing but a star-speck dust in all the scheme of things. So unless we recognize, for that you must know the Sankalpa. Unless you know all this, you cannot decode it, because he said it in one single word and gone on. But we'll have to sort of see the value, the reasoning in it.
But it's important to know that when he says it, Arjuna also knows it, because otherwise his saying is meaningless if Arjuna is not going to grasp the purport of what he said when he says, I am Margazhi. And both of these are meaningless if the people around didn't know what it means. So he knew, Arjuna knew, the people who are listening to Gita they were also in the know. So fundamentally what it is boiling down to, India is a beautiful example of how knowledge is best preserved through tradition. So tradition, it is only that sometimes, tradition may become, people may get locked in the tradition and may not see the knowledge. At those times, you need certain revival movements that can help you see the knowledge in the tradition so that you can continue to take these two together. You have to take knowledge and tradition. Without tradition, knowledge will fall. It can't sustain.
See,
you need tradition. Tradition is the public, is the mass. Knowledge is the small, exclusive thing which is there, which has to transcend only through tradition.
Now, should recognize that when she says tradition quite a few times, you remember that song in the film Fiddler on the Roof, where he speaks about tradition. There's a particular song in the classic film called Fiddler on the Roof, where he speaks
He's a
of tradition.
Jew. He's trying to preserve the tradition.
He's a Russian Jew. So there's a song called Tradition, Tradition, Tradition. Watch the song later. The point is, tradition in Indian thought is not to be limitedly misunderstood or limited to ritualism. Ritualism is different, tradition is different. They may have overlaps at best. Because many people, when they mistake ritualism to be tradition, they get too ritualistic. Yes, ritualism is important as a component of tradition. Tradition is a much larger canvas in which all these larger, see, it's like opening one more canvas. So the layers, like onion, you keep on unraveling. Each has a layer to it. But ritualism is one. The moment you say tradition, people constantly mistake it with ritualism. No.
And knowledge is at the core of the onion. So only after you peel all the layers, and so there'll be a lot more people who will be in the know of the tradition, and then it becomes smaller. But then it is that core, those rishi who have seen all this and have given us this knowledge, which then seeps and permeates everywhere as tradition beautifully.
See, Vengayam is very useful to unravel the layers of knowledge, ritualism, tradition, everything. So Vengayam has got multiple facets of use.
And it's very relevant that we're talking about an onion. You take a cross section of the onion, it'll look like the galaxy and the universe and the cosmos, all spirals.
True. Very true. Very
and
true.
will make you shed tears in awe of it.
See, what beats me is that in order to understand or even depict, there were so many historians from Britain that came. They had to understand Sanskritam, and once you understand Sanskritam, you cannot escape this part. You cannot escape that Kala Chakra. The concept of time itself is cyclical. I mean, interestingly, Dr. Hema and Dr. D.K.Hari, Judaism believes in time being cyclical, and Christianity is supposed to derive from Judaism. Somewhere that part didn't come through, because in Christianity as well as in Islam, you think time is linear. You don't think time is cyclical. Very interesting.
We'll keep for another day. Yeah, because the concept between the Occidental and the Oriental is one important aspect. One looks at it linear, other looks at it as cyclical. That's a big difference. See, these are two viewpoints. These are two contrary perspectives. And seeing that the universe is itself cyclical, obviously it's cyclical. That's all. It's not because the galaxy is cyclical, the solar system is cyclical. So it is. That's what the cyclicalness comes from.
I don't know if you've heard of Dr. Svoboda, Robert Svoboda, Svoboda. You've heard of him, right? So viewers, look up Dr. Svoboda, Svoboda on YouTube. You know why? Because he could figure out what he was in his previous birth. And his father was still alive. He came from America to India, sought out his father, and started telling him what he was as a child. So the fact that reincarnation happens is proven through his life history. Just take a look at it. Very interesting personality, Dr. Svoboda. And so I'm sure there were other reincarnations too. I'm just curious how. I mean, this is proof hitting you in your face, and still to put up a stoic face and say this is all bunkum. Not only that, Nadi that Agastya is supposed to have written, anyone who's going to be born on earth, they have that Nadi for that. The leaf has that. But they used to just auction it off. The British, wherever they found these things, we have no use for it. They would just auction it off. So today, if people say Nadi is not working for me, it is because the original for you has not been computed. There was a mistake in matching the Nadi leaf with yours. If the leaf matches, your life history just falls directly. So I'm just flabbergasted a little bit that with so much proof. In fact, if you think about it, after probably 1830, 1840, these people had a lot of time on their hands. Nothing. I mean, all the big kingdoms were conquered, all the teeth drawn out everywhere. By 1853, I'm just going to finish. The railways were laid. then the railways were laid mainly because they could get to close to wherever the satraps were located. You look at any kingdom, the railway station will end very close to the palace, within 1 kilometer. So they can rush troops in case there is a mutiny. So it's very, very, very interesting that, so much was there, yet it was ignored. If you want to say anything, I mean, if you would like to conclude, we can go ahead and do that. We have been talking for about 40 minutes, with me talking for 10 minutes.
Going back to the parent topic of this interview about the idea of Margashirsha. The idea is, as Hema so nicely brought out, the alignment with the knowledge, alignment with the bodies, because we are a body. We are a Rudra, we are a body, and we are in alignment. So each of the body has to be in alignment with the other. And when you have that knowledge of alignment, which is what Bhagavad Gita is all about, giving you that higher, elevated level of knowledge, take you to the next plane of understanding. Then, as you said about the idea of Narayana, where you submit to the idea of Saranagati, submission. It's in all theologies. The idea of submission, Saranagati, surrender is there. So all that we do that, so you get into real alignment. That is when you start realizing the very purpose you are, the very being you are, what you are here for, the I, everything. So that's where this month, this alignment is the ideal period for introspection. That is what it's meant for. So when you introspect, you get on to deeper levels. So you can always keep doing a mundane work. That's important. Doing a mundane works, keeping your body fit, keeping your food channels alive, keeping your vocation going, functioning. All this is very important. Keeping your roti kapda makan is very important. But also, you should have that space and time to look at the beyond. Why are you here and how you are here? From where are you here? These help you, give you that calmness, that rest, so you can do your mundane things again repetitively, successfully, productively. For that, you need this too. So it's a good balance of this. And that balance is what is shown in the Tula Rasi. One among the 12 Rashis, the Tula Rasi, which shows you the balance. So each of the Rashi, gives you a different import for a particular purpose.
And they are beautifully timed with what happens in space at the time, and how it speaks of that state itself, both in the space and within us as well, both physical realm and how that takes on to the, has an impact on the mental realm. So this month actually, and that's why it's in solar system, solar calendar, it's also called the Dhanur Masam, because Sagittarius, Dhanur. So Dhanur Masam, Margazhi, Margashirsha, all this month is actually being held very auspicious, and can bear a lot of fruit for all these kind of introspections and thinking of higher
realms
thoughts.
Of thoughts which we are made up of, incidentally. We are intrinsically made up of it. And what better time to do it than in the Ushat Kal, in the early morning, when real introspection is obviously possible, when the climate is not only salubrious, pleasant, and it is in alignment with everything, the sun, the moon, all the astral bodies. And remember that we are but an astral speck. If the earth is an astral speck, what are we in it then? Speck of a speck. Isn't it? So that is the beauty, and that gives you wonderful realizations.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hari, Dr. HemaHari. And
thank you.
Are there any do's and don'ts for this month?
See, if you go to every small school that you follow, they will give you a list of do's and don'ts. So that is one side. But there, if you're aligned with that school, you will do what that school tells you as do's and don'ts. But by far and large, the do's and don'ts is to align and think of larger introspect, be more creative, which leads to more creative thoughts. And this introspection is best done in the early hours of the day when everything is calm. So that is your fundamental do. And anything against that is your don't. And once you do that, the rest will automatically follow, will just flow from it.
Look at this. You go to the modern management schools in US or Europe or anywhere, they tell you must have some me time, M-E, me time, that you need to be with yourself and see what are your capabilities, your skills. It's a new funda they come up with, me time. What is this month all about? That me time. You have given it to yourself, and it's sort of clearly given. So this is about managing your life, managing your physical life, managing your subtle life, from which you come from actually. So,
and here beauty is that we have never separated the me from the God. So
It's-
the me is the God as well.
so the me is the me. The me in me speaks of the me.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hari, Dr. HemaHari. It was a wonderful discussion, and viewers will be back in 2 weeks' time with the one and only Haris, Dr. Haris, and we'll have another exciting topic for you. Namaskar.
You have a beautiful halo on over your head. Your background has got a nice circle, a halo. So you're already, in the essence of Margashirsha.
You're a hero person.
Thank you. Namaste.
All coincidence. An act of serendipity. Thank you so much. Namaskar.